So we are started on live, and I'm going to say good morning. This Saturday service. This is January 18, 2025. I'm Rabbi Brian. I am joined by a group of people who I'm going to put on the screen. There's the group of people. Hello, people. And I'm going to go back to the first screen. This is a different kind of service. Everyone's mics are unmuted so that they can participate and join in. Here's the order of what we're going to be talking about today. We are going to be talking about kindness, and should we wrap up and finish talking about kindness, we will move on to topic number 2. But, okay, let me put that back over here. I have a. Is our care group back? Not yet. Oh, well, we're not quite at yet at 8 o'clock. I started a moment early. I'm going to have to ask each of you for an extra shekel.
Yeah. It's in the mail.
I appreciate that. Well, here come all the other people back. Wonderful, wonderful. I want to start out with an announcement, and then what did I do with? There it is. I have an announcement. This is Rabbi Brian's. Hold on, it's going to focus in. There we go. Rabbi Brian's How to Keep from Eating Unkosher in 2025. Now, I took some time thinking about the wording here. It's not how to keep kosher. I'm not sure how you should keep kosher, but I know how you can keep from eating unkosher. It's a distinction. I'm not sure there's a huge difference, but let me explain. Rabbi Brian's How to Keep from Eating Unkosher in 2025. Let me translate the word kosher to just mean fit. A gymnasium in Israel is called a Beit Kasher, a house of kosher. It means fitness. So kosher means if something is fit for eating. And here's my tip on what we should be doing this year to keep from eating unfit foods. And it's pretty simple. It goes like this. Oh, first of all, let me make a quick, at the end of drug ads where they spill out all the legal requirements. Legal statement. I am not in charge of you at all. I am not telling you this is what you must do. This is just what I'm doing these days, and I think it's working out pretty well. And so I want to share it with you. You obviously are under no obligation. Rabbi Brian's How to Keep from Eating Unkosher in 2025. It goes like this. Should you have food in your mouth, no new food goes in. That's it.
Yeah. That's hard. That's impossible for me.
Harold. Was that Harold, one of the Harolds who just said that? Can I put you up on the screen, Harold, and tell us a little bit?
When I was growing up, there was 3 of us boys, and mashed potatoes went around the table exactly 1 time. There was no seconds. So if you wanted anything, any hope of eating anything, you had to get it the first time and get it in your mouth.
I hear.
Second time, when I was in junior high, we had an hour for lunch, and we had the opportunity to go outside and just raise cane on a big field in the back, and we played a game which was called Schmear. 2 teams in a football, and whoever had the football got tackled. Well, in order to maximize the time at lunch, we ate our lunch in a minute. So we had 59 minutes to play.
Okay,
so let's go
Harold,
to the
you have
cafeteria, get a
convinced
plate of
me.
food and eat.
Harold is exempt from this. Anyone else need to exempt themselves? Go ahead, John.
Just the whole concept around food on CBC, Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. They have a show called The Nature of Things. The most recent one was Friday evening, and it was on the food industry. And it's amazing to watch, to see, and to learn how the current food industry is being run by tobacco companies.
Really?
When they started losing profits in tobacco, they found it in food, and how they're applying the same science they used to drive people to smoke, how they're applying exactly that same stuff to the processed food business. If
Okay,
anybody
I don't think
can get
that
access to that,
exempts. I don't think that exempts you from not putting more food in your mouth when you
no,
want to put food in your mouth.
I've tried I've tried that in terms of saying if I put something in my mouth, I put my fork down instead of getting the next forkful.
Great idea. Okay, I think I'm finding out. This is y'all. Let me try it backwards. Instead of anyone wanting to exempt themselves, show of hands, who's willing to try in the next week to be mindful of when they shovel extra food in before they have a clean mouth? Like 7. Okay, so, no, not the baby. Come on. You're So, just one of those little facts. Little kids eat until they're full. They stop. They know. They don't gorge. They didn't get delivered delicious baklava made by a friend. Boy, I fucked the shit out of that baklava. Which reminds me, I've been asked why I use more words than other people use them, and I think it just means I have a larger vocabulary. Sorry if the word sometimes upsets you. I did want to talk with Ruth because Ruth asked me about it. Okay, so everyone has homework. You don't have to do. Let's just see if we can get a little more mindful about our eating. I wanted to go over something we talked about last week. First, I want to put up a quote. Because this is what I think we have going on here. If you're wondering who your people are, they're the ones who make your heart feel seen and your nervous system feel calm. Yes, it's that simple. And it's hard to argue with a quote that says, yes, it's that simple, but I'm willing to take distractors on. Go ahead, Ron.
Oh, no, I wasn't arguing with that at all.
Okay, your electronic hand was up.
No
Oh, worries.
How'd that happen? Oh, okay. Well, that's the
no
lower
worries,
hand.
So let me bring us back to last week. We had a discussion about anxiety, and I wanted to give you some. I took notes on what we were talking about, and I wanted to sum up. We said if you catch on fire, you want to stop, drop, and roll. And if you wind up around an anxious person, and we said this, that anxious people try to fix things, and they try to fix things that aren't necessarily needing to be fixed. People who are anxious are unsettled, and that is unsettling. When you're with someone who is unsettled, your nervous system taps into their nervous system, and you wind up unsettled too. And so we came up with the following 3-point plan on how to deal with people who are anxious, but we only got to point 1. And I've practiced this week. When I find myself with someone who's anxious, I need to do a full bump, 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 shut down. All the way down, like when you restart a computer, and close all the windows and really ground myself. Because if I'm not really grounded around the anxious person, it's no good for them and it's no good for me. I would love us to practice stopping for anxious people. Okay. That's follow-ups from last week. And I have a new thought that I have not brought in.
Yes.
Looks like this. Seriousness is a manifestation of anxiety. I don't know if this is perfectly true, sometimes true, never true. It just hit me hard when I heard it. Seriousness is a manifestation of anxiety. Everyone, I think, here gets a little serious at times, and sometimes we see people who are a little extra serious. Is that a manifestation of anxiety? Go ahead, Holly.
I think the opposite can be true too. I've noticed that some people use humor as a way to their anxiety.
Seriousness is a manifestation of anxiety, and so is being too loose.
I think it has to do with the seriousness of, of how anxious the action is.
The cause. Is that what you mean, Jack? How serious
Yeah,
the
in other
cause
words,
of the anxiety is?
Yeah. Well,
Right. A bomb goes off. I better be some serious about what's going on there.
Exactly.
As opposed to, right, okay, thank you. Al?
Yeah, I just want to say I really relate to that quote. People often call me a serious person, and I've always kind of wondered what that meant. And I think this quote kind of explains that a little bit. I think I get more anxious than most sometimes, and that's a way that the anxiety manifests itself. It just makes a lot of sense to me.
That anxiety can manifest as seriousness. There was a preacher by the name of Billy Sunday. He was back in the 20s, and he said, if your religion doesn't have joy and laughter in it, there's some hole in your religion somewhere.
Billy Sunday said that, huh?
Yeah. Is that a friend of yours, Emily?
I know, but I remember that name from my childhood.
Yeah. Go ahead, John.
It's like Amy Simple McPherson.
I don't know that one.
I think the quote relates directly back to what you were talking about earlier with the pilot.
So for those of you who are lost on John's enigmatic comment, because you weren't here when we talked about that, we talked about pilots dressing in a certain way instills in us some calm. That a pilot can fly a plane wearing a Bermuda shorts and a tank top, but we wouldn't feel as comfortable.
We would feel more anxious.
That we would feel more anxious. And then seriousness. Well, I promise you, pilots are supposed to do this. Like, we can get real serious about things really quickly. Go ahead, Lori. Lori, I'm never going to disagree with you when you're muted.
Okay. There we go. Now I forget what I was gonna say.
It's okay. It's okay.
When you're involved in a situation that could go wrong, and someone who's anxious comes upon the situation, they can put a very serious tone to something that wasn't serious before, is what I was gonna say.
Yeah. And we do tend to hat tip to the person who's the most serious in the room. Or the person who's the most anxious in the room.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of just said that, and I'm not sure. Go ahead, Emily. Help me out.
I was going to say that, I mean, a pilot, yeah, you want him to be in a uniform. I mean, a police officer, for heaven's sake, if somebody just comes up and said they have a star on them, they're in shorts, you probably wouldn't pay that much attention to them either.
Yeah, Candace.
Well, so what I'm hearing is we're projecting our perceptions onto the person, and we're also judging, based on the way we're seeing how they show up, how they look. Sorry.
Help me bring that back to this quote, because I'm a little bit lost there.
Well, what I'm thinking is seriousness is a manifestation of anxiety.
Yeah.
But it could also be a reflection. If we're anxious and we're seeing somebody who is calm, I don't know.
These are signposts, not destinations, maybe.
Yeah.
Candace, I'm just going to start and continue with I like you, and I'm a little bit confused at this moment.
Well, because what I'm hearing is, we're looking at somebody and we're judging them as serious.
Oh, yes.
Or that's what I'm saying is that they may not be serious. They just may be an introvert, or they may just have that uber calm,
That's
oozy
what
demeanor.
Al was talking about.
Yeah.
Al, is that hitting where you were? Al's nodding. Yeah.
Right.
Hannah, Johnny, and Ethan. Now, I'm pretty sure I know which one's Hannah, but I don't know which is Ethan and which is Johnny.
Yeah, I'm Johnny, and Ethan's playing with his balls over in the next room now. I think seriousness and anxiety are not either necessarily negatives, and that sometimes anxiety is a great motivator, and serious is
it's the right response sometimes.
The right response to a great motivator is to become serious about something, and then you can thusly accomplish something. So it's a movement in the right direction. That said, anxiety manifests itself in so many different ways. It's a kaleidoscope of emotion, and we all carry some level of it. Some much more than others, and by being too serious, we can lose track of the joys.
Yeah, that's I think I make a mistake and I confuse seriousness with not having a sense of humor. I am very serious about religion, but I'm not taking it too
say it
too seriously. No, that doesn't work.
Yes, it does.
But it proves my point. It proves my point perfectly. Like I don't have to take it. Go ahead, Ron, and then Ray, and then Carol.
So going back to the subject of uniforms and appearance giving a message, and the more formal the uniform, the more serious the message. That's why I wear tie-dye all the time.
Right.
One of the reasons.
And it goes with everything. And I've seen Ron in his tie-dye tuxedo, so he's not messing around. Go ahead, Ray.
Well, and seriousness depends from your point of view. There are people who think the situation in southern border is absolutely just so serious and just so terrible. And there's some of us who's been there don't think it's any big deal. And by the way, Ron, we know you're in tie-dye, that's your uniform. But that's cool too.
Thank you, Ray. Go ahead, Carol.
I think it's very important to be serious about things you care about. I don't think serious is a negative term, and I don't think it means that you're anxious. It means you're focused, and I think we have to be focused. I would not like us.
I appreciate that. I would. Thank you, Carol. I have to say, so this is. I love this process of I heard this quote, I thought it was like, yeah, that's totally cool, and then we find out that it could be the opposite as it as well, and then we find out that no, this is using the word not the right way. I completely agree. We should be serious. It's there are things to be serious about. It just doesn't mean you don't have to have a sense of humor. I lost Hugh, but I see Jordan's hand is up.
Yeah, I'll go. So along the lines of what you were just saying, Brian, maybe we can draw a distinction between seriousness and solemnity, appearing serious, having a serious projection, right? I think you are serious. You're serious about religion, but you're not necessarily solemn about it.
I like that. And there's a distinction without a difference, but I like it. Hugh, do you want to double back in?
Thank you, Brian. I think others have expressed some of what I was thinking at the time. I think maybe that resonated for you because it spoke to some of the way that your personality works and the way um, the way uh, the way anxiety affects you and the way you manifest that anxiety and how you want to uh, control that anxiety. Perhaps there's something that it connected with you, which is not generalizable for all people. I think that when it comes to anxiety, and attributing certain behaviors to anxiety can be kind of dangerous because the only one who can determine if one is anxious is the self-reflective one. And
Mm-hmm.
and for me to attribute cause to certain behaviors, I could be way off base, and I'm loath to do that. I do it sometimes when I shouldn't do it. I mean, we all kind of attribute motivations to behaviors, but it's something we need to be really, really cautious of and think deeply about.
And that anxiety is what's driving the boat. I think that also sang to me. I don't want my anxiety to steer the ship, but it's still going to be leaning on the wheel. Okay, I'm going to move to Dan before I push that in. Go ahead, Dan, and then Rita. Thank you.
Yeah, just about anxiety. I think we should be cautious about the fact that there's sort of normal anxiety and there's anxiety when it's like a serious mental health problem. I've got a friend from a group I used to be in, that I still see periodically, who, I mean, whenever I've been with him, he's functioning, but we talk about him just having sort of crippling problems with work. And I mean, he's had to take months off for mental health breaks and stuff because he's just so cripplingly anxious. And I'm just saying, it's just another thing. It's almost a different thing, I think, than sort of everyday anxiety.
Yeah. Go ahead, Rita. Thank you, Dan.
Well, my favorite phrase for myself is my sense of humor is my saving grace.
Amen.
And it has gotten me through all the most of the ups and downs of life. Yeah. And it still is really helpful to see, not to put down the subject, but to see the light part of it also. Yeah. That's it.
Thank you, Rita. I got you in a second, Jack. There's both. There's the good parts and the bad parts, and Jane calls it full solar spirituality when somebody tries to only show the sunny, shiny, happy parts. And full solar spirituality, it burns out. It never. You can't have just all the good. There's also the bad with it, and that's part of being an adult, is knowing that there's good and bad, and there's both. And it's. Go ahead, Jack. I'm gonna. And then.
I just wanted to say back in the day when I was a salesman, time was the trigger for living a life of anxiety.
Say a little more, Jack.
Well, the moment I get up in the morning until I lay my head down at night, my day was full of anxiety because I had to move fast, talk fast, sell fast, whatever. And it was driven by the fact that I had the time to do it. So time was driving my anxiety. And it was that part of my life that I'd rather forget about, Yeah. So I
think that's where this edict comes in.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I stopped completely.
Everyone except for Ethan. Go ahead, Emily.
I was going to say that full solar, just said, see, I can't relate to people who are full solar.
Say more.
Well, they're too good. They're too perfect. See, I'm so damned imperfect that it's like show me your you're not perfect, and then I can relate to you.
Right.
It's like
showing
what's that preacher? That preacher Nadia Bolz Weber. I love her
Yeah.
because she's just so right out there. She's got
Nadia
tattoos
Bolz-Weber
all over
runs
her.
yeah, she runs a church called the Church for All Saints and Sinners.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, we all have flaws, and it's really uncomfortable to be around people who pretend like they don't.
Mm-hmm.
I think that brings us also back to the first quote we started with, which is, you know who your people are. They're the ones who make your heart feel seen and your nervous system feel calm.
Mm-hmm.
The people who are flawed, they make my heart feel seen. They make my nervous system feel calmed. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Give that. Okay. Hi. Let me take a little break and put everyone's pictures on the screen. There's everyone. Hi, everyone. We're going to take a moment to turn to our intern, Lori. Intern, Lori,
Hi.
give us a few things, a few little snippets of learning that you did. You got.
Well, when we were talking about anxiety, in the stop part, which is the part that we agreed on, I think it's important to realize what triggers us. So we may not be able to do it right in the time there. We may need to take time, but I think it's important to see that we're triggered by people, that are like other people in our lives that we've had difficulty with. So I think part of that stop is realizing what you're triggered by. I once had a kid in religious exploration that was very he didn't respond well to the teachings, and he was negative, and he acted out all the time. And I realized after talking to my friend that worked in RE that I was triggered by him because I have a son he was very smart, this kid. And I was looking at my son who would love to have that mental ability, and I felt very upset. That's why I overreacted in my head to this kid. But once I realized that, I was able to be with him in a comfortable way. So I think I think the trigger part, in the stop part, you need to pay attention to why you may be triggered, and it may take longer than a few seconds.
Lori, pause for a second before number 2.
Yeah.
I'm going to do a thing that I would do if you were all my daughter and we were learning how to drive.
Okay.
So just stick with me for a second. Okay, everyone, stop. There's someone really anxious. Let's practice a stop. Just stop. Let's practice in the off hour when it's not bad, when we're not around someone anxious. Let's practice what it feels like to stop. The same way that they practice martial arts, so that if you're ever in the situation, your body memory takes over. Let's practice stopping right now. And we're going to go back to Lori, and then I promise you I'm going to do this again. I'm just going to randomly shout out stop, and we're going to practice stopping. Might be a little pediatric, but I think I'm in favor of this. Go ahead, Lori. What else did you learn? Tune into anxiety. Keep going.
Yeah. Last week we had a girl talk about religious trauma that she had experienced in a fundamentalist religion before she came to us. And she talked about, and I don't know exactly what this means, so don't question me on it, but it made sense to me at the time. She talked about beginning to attack the trauma by just listening to her body without judgment. So when she would have a frustrating conversation or upsetting conversation, for the first few months, she just paid attention to how her body reacted, like biofeedback, which I thought was a really great idea. And vision, I came across a quote. I'm doing a sermon this week about vision is our monthly theme, and I came across this quotation by John Washington Carver: "Vision without action is merely a dream. Action without vision just passes the time. Vision with action can change the world. Life is one big road with lots of signs." I thought that was, I really like that. Okay.
Vision and action both. I love it. Okay. I have a note that I wanted to thank people for from last week, which last week we heard from so many people and we didn't hear a lot of double dipping. And I wanted to add in one other thing, which is brevity is a way, here's how I wrote it. Brevity is a gift of community. That we have 50 people, there's only so much time. Brevity is a gift to community. Okay, here's the question I have for everybody. Can you do something to remind you you are beloved? What can you do to remind yourself that you're beloved? Hey, Alex, do you think we can open up some breakout rooms?
Yes, we can open up some breakout rooms.
Folks, here's the question you're taking into your breakout room. What can you do to remind yourself that you are beloved? What's something you can do to remind you that you're beloved? And if anyone has any doubts that they're beloved, don't join the breakout room. Just stick with me, and I will help you as best I can to know that you are beloved. You're beloved.
All right, shall we open those right now?
Let's open them. We're going to do 7 minutes with the bonus 8th minute. And of course, Alex has worked tirelessly to make sure everyone in your group is the perfect person you should be aligned with. Thank you for doing that, Alex.
No problem.
Lost my clock. There it is. All right, so then I'm on here. Hi, Greg. Hi, Hugh.
Hey,
Hi.
I just wanted to hang out with you guys today.
Glad to have you. And let me also say, we are those of you who are on the screen with me right now are also being broadcast to Facebook land. And if you didn't want that, I apologize. You can turn your video off. There we go. So what can you do to remind yourself you're beloved? What do you got, Hugh?
Doing for myself perhaps some of the things that I would do for others to let them know that I love them.
I could see that, because if I were at your house, you would be waiting on me and making sure that I was taken care of. Can you wait on yourself?
Yeah, sure, I can pamper myself sometimes if I choose to.
It's an odd one.
Make that extra special meal, buy that fine coffee.
I don't think I'll be honest, I have a really hard time. I'm much better at reminding other people they're beloved than I am at reminding myself.
I think that's probably
Alex,
true for most of
Alex
us.
is shaking head. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing, but you beat me to it.
I got one here. Do you want? I feel I'm beloved in nature. I haven't been eaten by a bear, but I bet they'd say I was deliciously beloved. Thank you. What else came in off? Shirley Wins. Good morning, Shirley. No, that's not about belovedness. Here's Patty's got an idea for us. I can listen and accept as truth when my partner tells me that I am beloved. He tells me every day more than once. Wow. Yeah.
Hmm.
Can I listen and accept? Can you just? Which is the movie where it says, "Turn around and listen to that guy"? Oh, I can't. I'm too far afield from it. What else can we do to remind ourselves that we're beloved? Jean says,
Well,
"We
kind of
aren't we all?"
riffing off that comment. You know, my partner Scott is very playful, right? And you know, this morning he was particularly playful. I, I won't go into what he did, but but it was funny and it was playful, and you know, it's kind of one of those things that he would not be doing that if he did not care about me, right? And you know, like almost every morning he does silly things as we're getting dressed and getting ready, and you know, for the day. And it's one of those things that if you don't think about it, it's just sort of this thing that happens. But now that I'm sort of taking a moment to pause and reflect,
Yeah.
you know, I realize, wow, you know, that's Scott's way of showing how much I mean to him.
So a way of finding belovedness is looking for it. I mean, it's so freaking obvious, but
Well,
taking the
it's
time to
looking
do.
for it, but it's being willing to listen to the message that's being sent.
Yes. It's right there. Hugh, what do you have to say back to Patsy? It's not a fair thing, but Patsy says, "Good idea, Hugh. Do unto yourself."
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's exactly it. Yeah. You know, the do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. Yeah, maybe that could be twisted around a little bit and say, you know, do unto yourself what you do
Oh, I
unto
like
others
that.
in a loving way. I don't know. There's ways we can play with that.
I lost the card. Sorry.
I think
Alex,
there's
we still
something
have.
about that phrase that suggests or leans in the direction of that we love others when we love ourselves, and in healthy ways. I mean, not in unhealthy
So
ways.
help me with give me your corollary.
Oh, corollary or corollary, as you Americans say.
Corollary, yeah.
I don't know. I can't. Well, the original
Well,
is do unto others as you'd have them do unto you, or something like that. Do
You
unto
just
others as
said,
you'd have them do unto you.
"Do unto yourself
As you would show
Oh, I
love
like
unto
that.
others. Do unto yourself as you would show love unto others, or something like that.
And really, I mean, also that flips because if you're an asshole, then be an asshole to yourself too. Like, do unto yourself as you do unto others.
As you would show love unto others.
Well,
I
that
think
gets
it's
rid of the
important
asshole part.
to put that in there.
Do unto yourself
Do unto
as
yourself
you
as you would show love unto others. Or some
show
word that
love.
suggests
Can I
that
change it to
it's
show love unto yourself as you would to
sure.
others?
Yeah, whatever. Show love unto yourself as you would show love unto others. Yeah. You know, we've talked about how we say things to ourselves about ourselves to ourselves that we would never ever say to other people. And that's the other side, like the negative side, where we just are far harsher on ourselves than we are on other people most of the time.
Show love unto yourself as you show love unto others. I like that.
Yeah, this flips that around.
Patsy, have any rebuttal? We're on a little bit of a time delay. I don't see any more comments. But
that was 6 minutes. Are we going to 8 or 7?
Oh, I'm on a 1990s timer, so.
Okay, I set the initial timer for 6 minutes. I wasn't sure. I missed what you.
It's all fine. So they're coming back now?
Like I can close them down whenever you tell me to.
Oh, I'm totally confused.
Okay, I don't remember if you said that we were going to have 7 minutes with an 8 bonus minute, or it was 6.
It was 7 with an 8th.
Okay. So we have 1 more minute before I close them down. Sorry.
Okay. All good. So, Hugh, we did hear back from Patsy, who said agree.
Awesome. Thanks, Patsy.
Which also means I should say hi to Facebook people and anyone watching this afterwards. You can still put comments on YouTube, and I see those when you put the comments up. So thank you for doing that. Okay.
Great to hang out with you too, and those of you who are streaming right now.
Audio. There we go. I got a message. This is closing. This is great. And I'll go back to that. Hi, Diana.
Hi.
The rooms are closing up, so coming on back. All right, welcome back. Welcome back. Ruth,
we're not quite all the way back yet.
Ruth, my friend, I made an apology and I used another curse word before you joined. But
You're you. I need to accept that. My not yours.
Thank you, Ruth, for your understanding. I appreciate that. Okay, well, welcome back to the whole group. I got more people still coming in. What'd you learn? We have my group has the best answer of how to do this. I don't know if it's right for me and my group to go first, or because it would just eclipse everybody else, or do we do ours at the end?
Are you
anxious about that?
Oh shit.
Is there any learning that happened? Anything that came out of your group about how do we remind ourselves that we are beloved? How do we remind ourselves that we are beloved? We're going to start with the fact that we are all beloved. Oh, wait, quick, stop. Let's just stop. Let's practice stopping. Can you feel yourself stop? Because when the anxious person comes near you, I'm not going to be there to shout out stop, so you're on your own. Go ahead, Holly. Good practice, everyone. That one went really well. Really proud of you. Go ahead, Holly.
So I'm going to disagree with you, Rabbi Brian, and say our group came up with the best stuff.
I will. What'd you guys come up with, Holly? What'd you?
So we had several ways people let themselves realize they're beloved. But one of the interesting things that came out of the conversation was the difference between being loved and being beloved. And I think this is actually something we touched on in a previous service, that love is used more casually and beloved is used more like intensely.
Yeah.
So
that's why I'm enjoying calling people beloved, is because it has different baggage associated with it. It's not the love you, mean it.
Right.
Love you more.
Yeah.
Thanks, Thanks, Dan. I'm going to take that in anyhow. Here's the quote here's the quote we came up with in my group. Show love unto yourself as you show love unto others. We said in our group that we're often really good at showing love to other people and being compassionate to them in that situation, but were we to be in that situation, we wouldn't be as kind. So the way to practice is to be kind to ourselves as we would to others.
That is a very important one. I was triggered by a ad I saw in a paper one time about a session that was coming up, loving yourself and others. And all of a sudden it hit me that no wonder I'm having a hard time trying to love others, because I just hated myself. I hated my behaviors. I hated so many things. I wasn't loving myself. And taking that seminar really helped me to turn things around.
Thank you, Greg.
Yeah.
I'll dip my toe into the airline pilot, going back to that. There's something about seeing the pilot in the uniform that changes our perception of the pilot. There's something about hearing someone who's embodied in an older white man's body talking about not loving himself that comes out differently and hits my ear in a way that I feel needed to be remarked upon, and so I did. So thank you for sharing that, Greg. Go ahead, Missy.
Yeah, thanks, everybody. I was in that group with Holly. That was the best group. One of the things that was interesting in our conversation, we did share several actions, and we all kind of had similar ones. But the thing that I took with me is the idea that that I'm aware where not to go. That AA saying the one I'm familiar with is don't try to fill your bucket at an empty well. And somebody else mentioned don't go to the hardware store looking for milk. But, it's an awareness of where I don't feel beloved if I try to go there and find it. Yeah.
Good idea.
So what's something you can do to remind yourself that you are beloved, Missy?
Well, my big thing is go to my sister. She's the one that loves me beyond measure, unconditionally, and I know it as soon as I get on the phone with her or see her face, or it's just.
I love that. That brings us back to this quote that we had. If you're wondering who your people are, they're the ones who make your heart feel seen and your nervous system feel calm.
Right.
Thank you, Missy. Anyone else want to dip in on something you can do to remind yourself that you're beloved? I got
forgiving myself.
Keep forgiving myself. Yeah.
Keep on. Every time I do something wrong, just forgive me.
Yeah.
And when I'm sitting in the office where I am now, and I turn around to do something at the desk, above the desk are pictures of Patty and I on our wedding day, and those remind me that I am beloved.
Nice.
And that I'm worthy of love. That's another big thing. We have
That is another big thing.
Are we worthy of love?
Yes.
I'm going to ask you a question. Are you worthy of love? Don't just answer. Think for a second and see how deep you can feel that. Are you worthy of love? And take a look on the screen. Look at all the people. Can you find one box besides your own of someone who might not be worthy of love? It's a beautiful thing.
Nope.
Folks, this is a random group of people. We have no connection except we've decided to. We've decided to love each other, and look what's born. And we get to take a little love out. It's so beautiful. So absolutely beautiful. This might be a good time. I have some announcements to make. First announcement is this one, which is always the first announcement. What's it say before it gets in focus? You know what it says.
It's okay not to be okay.
It's okay not to be okay. I got a different version of it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let the hard days win. Other announcements. We have a caregiver support group called OU2. Makes sense as soon as you say it out loud. Caregiver support group. If you put your email in the chat, we will be sure to loop you in if you want to be part of the caregiver support group. I was thinking about caregiving yesterday, and I thought that we're all caregivers in different, like, caregiving village. And the question I have is, if you are a caretaker in Caretaking Village, a mythical place called Caretaker Village, what are the accommodations for the caregiver? If you give care to a lot of people in this mythical place called Caretaker's Village, what are your accommodations?
You don't have any. You're too busy running around taking care of everybody else.
It's your village. And I think you're right. I think you're right, Patricia. A lot of us just say, "Oh, I'll take a nap in this folding chair next to a bed while I'm holding someone's hand." That's not enough. Folks, caretakers are so vital and important, and they get burned out. We get burned out so fast in the name of doing something good. Please take care of yourselves. Amen.
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 Oh, that's fantastic. Now it counts as a religious service.
Good thing you got the hat on then.
Yeah, the hat.
Yeah.
If I don't have the hat, it's not tax deductible. That being said, hey folks, honest appeal. This is my job. This whole thing. If you would like to support Religion Outside the Box, please rotb.org and do so. So thank you for that. Okay,
I have the prayer list for this week too.
Oh, dang it! And I got to hear from my friend Ruth and the prayer list, and then I still have 2 cards of juicy things that I don't think we're going to have time to get to. But I'm going to just be compassionate to me and say that's how it goes. Go ahead, Ruth.
The thing about being a caregiver is that you have to learn to say a 4-letter word, HELP. You have to reach out and let other people help, which is a very difficult thing to do. My mantra was, I can do it myself.
So let me take what you're saying, Ruth. What can you do to remind yourself that you're beloved? One of the things you can do is you can ask for help.
Hug myself.
Help yourself. Hug yourself.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Go ahead, Alex. Thank you so much for filling in.
These are the people to whom we are sending light and love. Ken in spirit and Joe, Carolyn, Brandon, Flynn, and Porter, Lauren, Brian, Addie, and Lincoln, the Ludwig and Applebaum families, Shirley W., Lynn S., Sheridan H., Bob Carl, Arlene Hill, Judy Love and her family,
No, just absolutely.
Patsy, Sister Sue, Ann M., Greg, Tane and Kelly, Emily, Rita W., Bernadette Applebaum, Bertie K., Michael, Carolyn, Nolan, Alex, Savannah, and Ethan, Wilson Burke, the Cohen and Camilla families, Timothy, Travis, Harry, and Ebony. The people in Los Angeles affected by the wildfires. Wildfires. Sorry. If there is another person in our community to whom we can offer light and love, please put their name in the chat and I will add them to the list. And for the people who are not named, but who are in our thoughts, we send them light and love as well.
Thank you, Alex, for reading those names. It'll take a minute of time now.
No.
Thank you all. If you're on Facebook, you might see that we have a contributor who's adding things that you might not agree with. Please, let's just ignore the problem. Somebody had just had their hand up. Yeah, Bob. I knew I saw a hand.
I have something to share with the group that happened to me yesterday morning. As I woke up, I got a phone call. Person said that I am your grandson Isaac, and that I went to a place and got drunk, and on my way back I crashed my car. That I'm in jail right now because I need to get out. I don't want you to tell anybody about this. And that so after a little bit more discussion, that I said, Isaac, where do you live? And he hung up the phone.
Yeah.
And so what it was a scam call.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So just wanting to share that with you, and that we need to be prepared for things like that. It was not an easy thing for me to handle.
Yeah.
And so I called the rest of the family and let them know about that. But I just thought I'd share that with the group, and I thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Bob.
Thank you for sharing that.
I'm sorry that happened to you, Bob.
Do you have a grandson named Isaac?
Yes, I do.
Oh, interesting.
Oh yeah, it's been very common.
Yeah,
I know somebody.
They also are using AI to clone voices so that they can have a voice that sounds exactly like your child.
Well, in this case, that his voice did not say, I forgot one part of it. His voice did not sound like Isaac, but he claimed that what happened is in the process, he broke his nose.
So his voice
And so that's why he was letting me know that in a sense that his voice didn't sound right because he broke his nose.
If you look at CNN, it has a whole list of the ways you can deal with scammers because it's gotten really virulent.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you. I want to make an announcement about next week because I need your help. Here's a little quote like the quotes that I put up on the screen. This one's from Mary Oliver. It's Instructions for Living a Life. I don't want to look at the quote right now. What I want to do is to give you an idea of this size quote that I put up on the screen. I thought about next week and I thought I'd love to bring in the quotes that you want to talk about. So would you please, if there's a quote, and this one was sent in by somebody, if there's a quote that you think would make for a good quote that I put up on the screen around this part, would you send it to me? And I'd love us to have a discussion of all the different quotes that we like. Thank you. Alex, you have an announcement or a...
Well, I just wanted to say on the scamming thing, and this is really, really important. Some of these guys are very sophisticated. The one that Bob was visited by was not particularly sophisticated. Sometimes they will know personal information, addresses, all sorts of stuff. It is a really good idea to set up a password with loved and trusted family members so that when you get a call like this, you say, oh, okay, what's the password? And then you know.
March.
Let me finish the video. I'm going to stop the recording. We'll put everybody on the screen. Let's all wave goodbye, and we'll see you next week.